Hi, this is Shadi. I've done many videos on karate throughout the years, but reviewing all the footage, I do believe that it is the most complementary martial art to judo. Now, I also believe that kendo is a great complementary to judo, but it's at the point where they meet, and this is what we are going to talk about today. I know many people pair up grappling styles together, like wrestling and judo, or BJJ and wrestling. But when it comes to striking or something that's not completely like judo, when they do meet at one point, for me, the perfect one is karate. Now, if you want to learn more about striking and armored fighting and the history of judo, please check out my book, The Origins and History of Judo, a translation of a manuscript from 1903, link below. Now, let's take a look at some of the things that it is different. Obviously, in karate, there's the striking, while in judo, you have the kuzushi and the unbalancing and how you grip in order to get someone to be taken down. So, here, for example, it is a push, and with the momentum, both feet are swept. While the first example, it was the strikes that were putting someone back, and obviously, it is finished with a big sweep to both legs. So, you see that moment of where the two can meet is where judo can thrive. And of course, it is the karate's attitude that I find interesting. You have a very light posture and how they stand. They're very light on their feet, and this is exactly what Jigoro Kano wanted. If you look at the Japanese judoka, you will see a very firm and strong stance while being very light. And karate has that one, not just with the kata where they have a big wide stance, but when they are hopping slightly on the tip of their toes almost, and they're walking and they're moving around. That's very similar to judo with the upright posture as well. So here also you have this type of competition. If you can remind me what the name of it is, you see a lot of techniques that are very much similar. So here, as the range gets smaller and smaller, you see the gripping being applied, and from it here, you see these big throws, a big haraigoshi with the head encircled. So you see here the striking, he got the leg as in to defend the kick. So he used that momentum to rotate the hips and then sweep the hips, as you see here, the haraigoshi sweeping of the hips. And it is, of course, a judo classic that can be applied with the karate context. And it's something I've covered before throughout the years, but it never ceases to amaze me that when you can actually blend the two together, you can have this very organic and continuous, as you see here, this beautiful uh, amalgamation of the two styles. So he is being taken back with a barrage of strikes, and he uses that momentum to sacrifice himself backwards, launching his opponent with a tomoe nage. And of course, if you know something about judo, and as you get older, you'd realize that attacking on the spot is not the best way to go forward, but it's really about creating that movement, and from it, a throw becomes very easy. So here you saw someone that was completely lunging forward with, bombardment of strikes, and then it created the most beautiful throw, against them. And here you can see some of the best tomoe-nage are those being done while moving either to the side or forward, whatever it may be. So, or it can just be static depending on the posture of the opponent. If it's already compromised, then it should be easy. But obviously, the more experience, the harder it's going to be for them to be standing badly. And here you can see also the use of strikes as unbalancing, or that little deer in the headlight type of moment is needed for unbalancing. Now, in judo, because we don't strike, you are very much, how do you say, you fight as you train. So let's say something did happen, you're not going to be thinking about striking, unfortunately. And I think having that little bit of habit, whether it is self-defense training in judo or kata, whatever, having that little habit of striking before and after, as you see here with the foot sweep, I think it's very good, because striking, it does exist in jiu-jitsu and judo, but either it's now for kata, or in the past it's to kind of get to your judo, and this is what you want. Now, obviously with karate and judo, you'll have people more that are leaning for the striking and more that are leaning for the grappling, just like in judo, more towards the ground or more towards the stand-up, depending on the fighter. So again, this is a spectrum at this point, but what I am trying to say is that here, you know, having that closure with a strike or the opening with a strike is also something that judokas should learn as well for their self-defense. Now here, for example, if you see these self-defense training by Nagaoka, you see he always opens up with a strike, and it will get him the throw much easier. And it doesn't have to be like this big, dangerous, crippling strike. It can be just enough to flinch or to get them a little bit bent over, maybe on the solar plexus or whatever, and there, by then it's too late. So of course, I do find that karate and judo are great complementary to each other. Here you see this sasae or hizaguruma, but pushing on the back of the neck like a kaitenage in aikido, and I find that beautiful. So it doesn't have to be sleeve and lapel all the time, or overhooks and underhooks. There's an endless way of gripping someone. And of course, watching this type of competition is also great to learn that, judo is not just a jacket. Just like in the past, you see these depictions of Japanese jiu-jitsu where they're only wearing their monkey pants, as they call them, which are just short undergarments. And here you see, again, as they get close with the clinch, now you get an easy throw, but the momentum is all created with the explosiveness of striking and the chaos of fighting in general. So I think it's a great way to combine the two, and I do find that karate can be very complementary to judo, much like kendo, as Jigoro Kano wanted. And also, if you read Kano's writings, you will see how he felt about atemi and how important it is to train them and to have a reflex against them. So if you have anything to add, let me know down below. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.